My name is Mrs. D, and I'm with Stories with Pop. And to tell you a little bit about myself, about 10 years ago, I learned how to twist balloons. Not because I'm a clown, not because, well, it actually was because I was bored. Okay? So I was bored, and my aunt said she knew how to twist balloons and thought, well, do you want to learn? And at first I said, no way, no way.
I already know how to.
You know how to? Well, I didn't know how to do it at all. And so I slowly learned how to make a doll. And then I learned how to make a flower. And then I was looking for pink. And then I learned how to make a fish. And so slowly, I learned how to do more and more things. And I said, well, this is kind of cool. You know, I can twist balloons, but I don't know what to do with them. Okay? So as I learned how to twist balloons, I thought about something that I really like to do. Who likes to read books? Oh, I love to read. My mom, I love to read books too. And my mom said that she remembers when I was a little girl and it would be bedtime. And she would tell me, it's time to go to bed. It's time to go to bed. And I say, okay, but I got to go to the bathroom first. And guess what was waiting in the bathroom? A book. And I'd be in there 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, because I wasn't finished. And she'd knock on the door and say, do I need to throw you a rope? Because it looks like you fell in the toilet. And I'd say, no, I just couldn't stop reading this book. Well, as I got older, I still like to read books. And then I went to college, and then, you know, you have to read books. Then I went to grad school, and you have to read books there. But then I stumbled on something that's called literacy. And I decided that that is what I love to do. Well, when you take what I really love to do and what I kind of like to do, kaboom! You put them together and you've got something really fun, really interesting, I hope, that I hope gets you thinking about how you can be creative about books. And see, I've never been to Russia, but I've read books about being there. I've never been to the island of Madagascar, but I've read books about being there. I never met a king before, but I've read books about them. I've never met the President of the United States, but I bought a book from the National Archives about he and his daughters. So there are lots of places that you can go with books and lots of things that you can do with books. Only your brain and your creativity can take you there. Okay? So that's a little bit about my story. So, I've got books that I'm going to talk about today. What do you think we're going to talk about today? Apples! Apples, apples. So, Ready, Set, Read, in my mind, is really talking. It's not just talking about running and racing and exercise. It's talking about the fuel that you need to be able to run and play and jump and do hopscotch and stand on one foot with your eyes closed and your arms out. Okay? You've got to have good fuel that goes in your body to be able to do that. Okay? I tried to balance in the dark with my eyes closed. That's really hard as you get older. Okay? talk about apples because apples are really cool, okay? Because there are lots of things you can do with apples, a lot of ways that people use apples. So we'll kind of talk about that as we go along today. But before I do all of that, we're going to talk about balloons, okay? So balloons are fun, they're colorful, they're exciting, but we want to be very, very careful when we use them, okay? So what I want you to do is I'm going to tell you some of the rules about balloons, and then I want you to repeat it back to me, okay? Okay? All right, so the first rule about balloons is we never put them in our mouth. We never, ever put balloons in our mouth because they can go down your throat and kind of get stuck, and then it's no fun. I teach CPR, and it's no fun, okay? I never want mommy to have to use CPR or never have to have them go to the fire department to have to get a balloon out of your throat. So we never put balloons in our mouths. Okay? So balloons, they like some things and some things they don't like. Okay? So when you rub on them and rub on them and rub on them, there's oil on your hands. And eventually the balloon will pop. So if you get a balloon, don't rub on it, don't rub on it, it's fun to make them squeak, but that means that the latex is getting thinner and thinner, and then it'll pop, okay? The other thing balloons don't like is they don't like the ground and they don't like the floor because of static. Static is something that you can't see, but in the wintertime, if you rub your feet on the floor and you touch a friend, what happens? You get shocked. Do you think balloons like getting shocked? No, no. They definitely don't like concrete. They don't like static, so we don't want to put them on the grass. Grass is kind of prickly. So it might not like grass. It might like grass, but I don't want to figure that out. I don't want to figure that out.
Balloons can stay up on the grass.
They can if they have helium in them, but I didn't bring any helium today. But you're right, they can sit. They can hover above the ground. They can hover above the grass. Okay? So, let's see. So I made an apple. I made an apple with balloons. So, let's see. So I'm a mom of 3 kids. They're not little kids anymore. Even my littlest one isn't a baby anymore, so I won't call them my babies. But as a homeschooler, I know that 3rd graders, who's in 3rd grade? And 4th graders, who's in 4th grade? And 5th graders, who's in 5th grade? No one's in 5th grade? One 5th grader, woo! All right, so 3rd graders and 4th graders and 5th graders are learning about adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe. So, tall boy, or pink shirt. So tall and pink are words that describe things, okay? All right, so we're going to think about words that describe apple. So can someone raise their hand and tell me a word that describes apple? Tell me a word that describes apple.
Red, green, or yellow.
Very good. He got them all in one swoop. Okay, so apples are different colors. He said red and yellow. I'm trying to find my book. And green. And red. They are all, I must not have picked up my book that has the apple pictures in it. But apples come in different colors, and they're different. As a matter of fact, when I looked on the internet, there are thousands of types of apples. There's McIntosh and Granny Smith and Gala and Pink Lady. And the newest one I found last week was a donut apple. So do you think it tasted like a donut? No, it actually looked like a little donut. So it was about this tall, and it had a little dimple in the middle. And it looked like a donut. But it didn't taste like one. It didn't taste like one. So what's another way we can describe an apple? It's, we're going to get to that, but that's right. We can talk about how an apple is made, and that's exactly what we're going to do. He said seeds. Yeah.
Then it goes to a tree, a big old tree full of apples.
Oh my goodness. That's right. So apples, where they grow and how they grow is another way to describe them, and we will do just that. Okay? Any other ways you can think of? Oh, how it tastes. It tastes delicious. That's right. So the different kinds of apples taste different kinds of ways. So a Granny Smith does not taste like a Braeburn. No way. No way. And so that's how cool apples are. So let's think about how an apple is made. So we said the inside of an apple has what? All the way in the middle is what? Seeds. Little tiny brown or black seeds. Well, what is holding the seeds? The core. Did you know the core protects the seeds? It's kind of like when a mama holds a baby and she holds it really safe. That's what an apple core does for the seeds. So if you drop your apple, it won't damage the seeds. Well, what is surrounding the core? The apple flesh. That's the part that we eat. So when you eat an apple, it sounds like what? Crunch. A really good apple. A really good apple says crunch. Okay? And then on the outside, what's the outside called? The skin. And that's what we see. So the part that's green or yellow or orange, that's the skin. And then what's this? The stem. The stem tells us what? That an apple grows on a tree. You guys are so smart. So I made okay? So I made a fruit basket. So we're going to ask for 4 volunteers. You can pick 2 from this side. You can pick 2 from that side. We're going to ask 4 volunteers because we want to know where these fruit come from, right? Okay? Okay? So you guys come and pick a different type of fruit. You get a different kind? So get a different kind than they got. I forgot the one that I was going to make, but okay, so while they're telling, I'm going to twist one special for him. Okay? So What does she have in her hand? It looks like a banana. Where do bananas grow?
On the tree.
Does everybody know bananas grow on trees?
Yes.
Oh yeah, bananas do grow on trees. What is that? Grapes. How do grapes grow? On a vine, that's right. And in what's a whole group of grapes that are growing together? No?
A school of grapes.
A school of grapes. Very good, but not quite. Can anybody think of it? We actually have several that I passed on the way here. Grapes grow in a vineyard. Can you say vineyard? Okay, vineyard. Okay. So what is this? What does he have? He has an orange. And where do oranges grow?
On a tree.
They grow on an orange tree. I don't know if I say grapes grow on a vine. Okay, so they grow up from the ground, and then you train them up onto a vine. Okay? This one might not be as easy to recognize. An apple, it could be a yellow apple or a lemon. That's exactly what I was going for. It may not look like one, but do you know where lemons grow?
A lemon tree.
That's right. A lemon tree. I didn't know that lemons grew on trees or limes grow on bushes until I saw it myself. Okay? So those are pretty cool, right? Okay? So we're actually going to leave a fruit basket right here at your library. Okay? You guys can keep those if you like and have a seat. Cool. Okay, so moving right along as we talked about where things grow, I thought it might be fun to read a story about where things grow. And what is this book titled? Now, we know that apples and lemons and oranges grow on trees. But do you think that the McDonald's apple pie grows on trees? No. So this book is kind of like a mystery. So we're going to figure out why it's called the apple pie tree. Okay? All right, so this is the apple pie tree by Zoe Hall, illustrated by Sherry Halpin. My sister and I have a tree that grows the best part of apple pie. So let's name some of the things that go inside of an apple pie. Apple, flour, somebody said the sweet part, sugar, cinnamon, very good, and the best part, in moderation, butter. It's butter. Okay? So the best, can you guess what it is? It's an apple. That's the best part of the apple pie. And every year we watch our apple tree grow. In winter, our apple tree is brown and bare. Why is the apple tree brown?
Because all the leaves have fallen off and the apples have already been picked off, and then it's all ready for winter.
That's right. So the tree goes to sleep for the winter. But in spring, leaves grow on every branch. Look, 2 robins are building a nest in our tree. What color are the robins? Red robins. Tiny pink flower buds appear on the branches. The robins chirp loudly, guarding their eggs. Red robins have what color eggs? Blue. That's another mystery. Blue eggs from a red robin. Just when the flower buds open, baby baby robins break through their eggshells. Mama Robin is feeding the babies. Now our tree is covered with blossoms, and the baby robins begin to grow feathers. Who else has joined us in our story? A butterfly and bees. Why do you think the bees are there? I heard the word pollen. That's right. Sometimes they get honey from them, but bees help us get our apples by moving the pollen. They move the pollen for us. When the breezes blow, the petals fall to the ground. Mama and Papa Robin teach their little birds to fly. Teach them to fly. Oh, we're about to find out something that's very, very important. For apple trees and other things to grow, what do they need? Rain. They need rain. Some days it rains and the wind blows hard, but our apple tree is strong and the robins are safe in the branches.
But I have a tomato plant.
That's right. Small green apples grow where the blossoms used to be. So when the blossoms blow away, the apples begin to grow. Soon it's summer. The apples get bigger and bigger. The little robins have grown up, but they visit every day. The branches bend down low. They are covered with big, round apples. Those are two describing words, aren't they? Big and round. Now it's autumn. The apples are red and ready to be picked. We fill our baskets to the brim. So what time of year do we pick the apples? What time are they ready to be picked, to be eaten? The fall, when the leaves fall off the trees and it starts to get a little cool, and we're thinking about Halloween and Thanksgiving, the apples are ready to be picked. Now, Mom and Dad help us peel the apples, cut them up, and pile them into a pie shell. Then we sprinkle cinnamon and sugar on top. Mom puts the pan in the oven. Has your mama made a pie or cake or cookies? How do you know she's baking it? Because I can smell it. And does it smell good? Oh, yes. At last the pie is cooked and ready to be eaten. Our tree has grown an apple pie. It smells so good. That's right. And it tastes delicious. There's that word, delicious. That's another describing word. There's nothing as good as an apple pie you grew yourself. The end. So, our big story kind of thinks about apples. And as we're getting ready for the 4th of July, I thought it would be good to do a story about an original American tall tale. So, if you haven't heard the words tall tale before, what part of the library or what kinds of books tell us about real people and real stories? Fiction books tell us about real people, and what kinds tells us about maybe superheroes? Fiction tells us about people and places that may not exist. Nonfiction tells us about real people. Well, this story actually kind of mixes up the two. Have you heard of Johnny Appleseed? story based on a real man, but the story that we tell is not so real. Okay? There are little parts of the stories that are true, and then they embellish. Can you say embellish? Embellish. Okay. That's not necessarily telling a lie, but it's kind of a riff on the truth. Okay? So the real story of Johnny Appleseed is about a man named John Chapman. Can you say John Chapman? John Chapman is the real man behind the story of Johnny Appleseed. Okay? So Johnny Appleseed is the story we're going to tell today. And the first thing we're going to do is pick our Johnny. So who's going to be Johnny Appleseed? The young man in the striped shirt. You're going to be our Johnny Appleseed. So we're going to tell the story, but you are going to act it out. So, the story of Johnny Appleseed starts out with a boy, a very young boy, who grew up in the 1800s. That was a long time ago. Okay? Did we have grocery stores in the 1800s? No. Did we have cars in 1800s? No. No. So everything that you ate, where you lived, and could you go buy clothes from Walmart? No. No. If you had clothes, that was because your mama made them. Okay? So this is Johnny. Say hello, Johnny. Hello, Johnny. Well, Johnny in the beginning was a very young boy, but even young children helped the family with the farm. So what did Johnny do? We're going to start over here. He's going to act it out with me. Now, he didn't know he was going to do this. So Johnny would dig a hole and plant the seed. And then he'd dig another hole and he'd plant the seed. And then he'd dig another hole. And what would he do? He would plant the seed. And he would do this. He would do this. He would do this when the sun would go up and when the sun would go down. Get my props out, guys. Whoop. So the sun is going to go up, and then the sun's going to go down. So all day, Johnny, what did he do? Dug the hole and planted the seed. Oh my goodness. Well, he did that day in and day out, and in the autumn they picked the apples, and then in the spring they started all over again. Well, as Johnny got taller and older and taller and older, when he was a young man, he told his dad, I'm ready to go and live my life. I'm going to hit the road and make a life for myself. So Johnny started walking. And he kept walking. And he kept walking. Because that's all you could do. He couldn't afford a horse. He couldn't even afford a mule. He had to walk. And as he walked, he thought, how can I make money? How can I buy myself some land so that I could build a house and have a family? And what did he think about? How did he know how to make money? He knew how to dig a hole. And now, do you know that he had smart parents to teach him how to earn money? So that's exactly what he did. Okay? So while Johnny was walking, the sun went Up. And then the sun went. Oh, yes. And then the sun would go. And then the sun would go. Oh, my goodness. So, as Johnny, he got an idea. He said, the way that you got land, okay, was you set a claim on a piece of property, and then the rule was you had to plant trees. And if you could get those trees to grow for 5 years, then you owned the land. So that's what he did. He decided to, these are our little seeds. So he dug a hole and he planted a seed. Sit. There you go. And then he dug another hole. And he planted a seed. Have a seat. And then he dug another hole. And he planted the seeds. And then he dug another hole and planted the seeds. Well, the sun is going up and the sun is going down, and we had an extra seed, so it just kind of blew and sat. Okay? Well, what did we say? We needed sunlight and what? And rain. So can I get 2 more volunteers? Because we've got to water the plant, right? We've got to water our seeds. So you're going to water the seeds, and you can come over here and you can water those seeds. So water the seeds. Water the seeds. Water the seeds. And then the sun kept going. And then the sun would go down. Okay? I'm going to have you guys stand behind your seeds. I'm going to stand behind your seeds. Okay? Okay? So, as the sun would go up and the sun would go down and the rain would fall, what happens to seeds? They grow. They grow. They grow. So, at first, they were little shoots. They were little shoots that came up out of the ground. Whoops. They were little shoots that came up out of the ground, but they kept growing because the rain kept coming and the sun kept coming, going up, and then the sun would go. And then Johnny would kind of dig around his trees to make sure there were no weeds. Because gardeners know we don't like weeds, do we? No, we don't. And then it kept raining. And then eventually, the trees grew a little bit taller. On your knees? Sit on your knees. Okay. And then they got taller. Come up a little bit higher. And then they got taller because the rain kept coming and the sun kept going up. And then the sun would go and they would grow some more. Grow some more. Grow some more. Keep it raining. Yeah, we're in Alabama. We get a lot of rain in the fall, but none in the summertime, right? And then, what do we say comes on the trees when they're ready? The blossoms come. So we're going to pretend that the blossoms. We're going to pretend that the blossoms are coming. We're going to pretend that the blossoms. And then what do we say? The wind kind of blows them away, so that's why they're. Okay? Oh, but then 2 more. So we've got blossoms, but what's supposed to pollinate the blossoms? The bumblebees are coming to make sure we have apples. We're going to make sure we have apples with our bumblebees. And there they go. Help her buzz. Pollinate the flowers. And the sun is still going up. And the sun is still going down. And it's still raining. Oh my goodness. Johnny has worked really hard. Some days it didn't rain and he had to get buckets and bring the water. Because he had strong muscles by this time and strong legs for doing all that walking. Well, when the trees got blooms and then the blooms blew away, then Johnny got lots of apples. So Johnny is going to go to his apple trees and collect his apples. Now Johnny did this in Ohio and Pennsylvania and Kentucky and some parts of Tennessee. And that's why he was a legend, because he planted so many apple orchards. He planted so many apple orchards, but guess what? Was Johnny a rich man? No. When his sister sorted out his estate, he only made $196. So sometimes your hard work pays off, but it definitely makes sure you get something to eat. The end. Everybody give them a round of applause. I'm going to have you guys sit up here because I'm going to twist balloons. If you want to have a seat with your, I'm going to twist balloons for you guys. So I'm going to have you guys sit right back here. Okay? Can you guys sit back here?
I'm going to use it.
Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is snacks. Who likes snack time? Well, apples are a very good snack. So I want you to raise your hand and tell me, what kind of snack do you eat with your apples? What do you usually have with your apple snack? What's that? You said brain? You have brain with your apple snack? Well, I like to eat apples on a rainy day and get a really good story with that. That's good. What else can we eat with an apple snack? Peanut butter. That's usually the #1 thing that people say is apples and peanut butter. That is so yummy. What kind of snack can you have with your apple? Caramel. You dip it, right? You dip it in the caramel or you dip it in the Nutella. Makes a yummy, yummy snack. What do you have with your apple snack? Honey? Ooh, that is actually very, very good. Very good. Yummy honey with your apples. Yes, sir. Chocolate syrup, so you have a little bit of the good and a bit of the yummy, right? Very good. What else can you have with your apple snack? What's something good to drink with your apple? Water or chocolate milk. What's a good snack to go with your apple?
Yogurt.
Ooh, no one has said that yet. You are right. Apples, cut apples, or what do you call that? Yogurt is a good protein, just like peanut butter is a good protein. So you pair that protein and a little bit of sweet with the apple, and that makes a really good snack. Let's see, one more. Tell me what do you like with your apple snack? Oh, I like peanut butter too. I thought somebody would say my favorite. One more. Chocolate peanut butter. That's that Nutella. That's a little bit of good and a little bit of sweet. Well, the one that I haven't heard, dark chocolate. Now that actually is good for you, and it tastes good too. Very good. But cheese. Has anybody had cheese and apples? Oh, cheese and apples are very good too. A very good snack. So today or tomorrow or this weekend or this month, ask Mommy for at least one apple snack. Now the one that I like to share, and you can look at it on Pinterest, is you can make an apple smile. An apple smile, so you take an apple slice and then you put either peanut butter or Nutella or a little bit of that sticky dark chocolate on one part of your apple, and then you use miniature marshmallows and you stack them up around the apple so that it looks like tea. And then you put a little bit of your peanut butter, or a little bit of your chocolate, or a little bit of your Nutella on the other slice of apple and put it on top. And it looks like lips and teeth, which look like an apple smile. Okay? It's a very, very good snack. Okay? So thank you, you guys. Thank you for having me. It was very nice to be here. And we want to thank Miss Lynn. Where's Miss Lynn?
Here, I will show you.
How do you all want to end?
All right, so everybody got their tickets for? All right. And next week we will have fun outside next week, but y'all be directed. Y'all have a safe 4th, and we look forward to seeing y'all next week.